Hello and welcome back to my channel, Welshman Reviews. I'm Gareth and today I'm going to be reviewing Don't Breathe 2. So this is the sequel to the 2016 movie Don't Breathe that was directed by Fede Alvarez. He doesn't come back for this one, but he does co-write it with his co-writer from the first movie, Rodo Sayes, who incidentally gets his directing debut in this film, which he directs this one. I enjoyed this film. It stars Stephen Lang again, who is the blind veteran. So he has, in this movie, he's kind of protecting his daughter from home intruders trying to kidnap her. Who you think they have their one, you think it's one reason why they kidnap her, but then you find out later on in the movie it's something different. But then it turns on his head again towards the end of the movie, and it's another reason altogether. But yeah, it's a really good film. I'll go into my pros and cons. The pros, I'll start off with the pros because I don't have many cons for this. It's just one major one which I think a lot of people are going to have for this movie. The acting's really good. Stephen Lang's great as usual, and all he's normally good in everything he does. Madeline Grace, who plays Phoenix, his daughter in the movie, she does an excellent job. The main villain, Brendan Sexton III, who plays Raylan, the main villain of the movie, he does a really good job of being really creepy and all that. And you have four other guys who are in his crew. Rocky Williams, who does a little bit, but he's probably the first one who dies. So then you have Bobby Schofield, who plays Jared, and Adam Young, who plays Jim Bob. He's really good. He's like his second in command, let's say, and all that. So he has some good little. He's really good in the movie as well. So yeah, the acting and all that's really good. The direction's really good for a first-time director. He has the same feel as Fede Alvarez, his first one. So you could pretty much tell he's worked with him and all that, because the movies are, you couldn't really tell if you didn't know who directed them. You couldn't really tell the difference in directions, to be honest. Cinematography is really good. A couple of good scenes in it. The overhead one in the beginning was similar to the first movie, where in the first movie, isn't it, he starts off with Stephen Lang's character dragging there's a Jane Levy's character through the street, and then you start high and it closes in. Similar scene in this one, where you start high, you're going low, and then you see a younger Phoenix walking down the street and then collapses. And then the thing, like, this movie does take place 8 years after, even though the movies are only 5 years apart. It's 8 years ahead, forgot to mention that in the story. So yeah, I like the look of the movie. It's very gritty, very dirty, similar to the first movie again, and all that. So yeah, I did like the look. It is. I've only got a couple of cons. I'll do off with the littler ones before I get to the bigger one. There's scenes in this where there's two scenes in this where I thought were kind of pointless. There is, if you've seen the trailer, you'll know one. It's the guy who gets his mouth, super glued together. Pointless part of the movie, to be honest. He could have easily just killed him off, and he should have. But he does. I don't know whether it was a distraction thing, because it didn't really do anything really for the movie. And there's a scene at the end with a machete and an arm, which didn't really come to anything. Just felt like it was more of a, oh, let's get a gore scene in this movie and all that. I don't mind gore in movies and all that, but don't have it for the sake of it, to be honest. The big con I have for this movie is you're rooting for a villain at the end of the day. Stephen Lang's character, Norman Nordstrom, if you've seen the first movie, he played out first of all as a victim and the hero of the movie, trying to get these intruders, but then the movie kind of takes a turn in his head when you find out he has kidnapped the girl who knocked over and killed his daughter. And in this movie he does admit that he is a monster and he is a murderer and a rapist, but it still doesn't take away from what he done and all that. And it's hard to root for a guy like that. Yes, you can argue the case, or he redeems himself or something like that, but he never really paid the price for his crimes at the end of the day. And say the same for Jane Levy from the first one. She got away with a crime and all that. Yeah, you could say she was doing it for a good cause, but she's still stealing from someone and she never got her comeuppance at the end of the day. But yeah, it's very hard to I never rooted for him in this movie. There was some scene parts where I was like, all right then and all, but I never felt sorry for him and all that, and what happens to him in this movie and all that. It is, but they kind of play this movie a bit of he's the villain again in the beginning, but then it kind of does a little twist and all that. Not as good as a twist as in Don't Breathe, but it's still a pretty good twist and all that. And but yeah, and then he turns it and he becomes like the hero of the movie again and all that. So yeah, I recommend seeing it. It's not as good as Don't Breathe, but it's good enough to watch. I think if you enjoyed the first one, I think you'll kind of enjoy this one and all that. I give it a solid 6 out of 10. So average, really, 6 out of 10. So yeah, I recommend seeing it. Maybe if you don't want to see it in the cinema, maybe wait for it to come out on VOD or Blu-ray or 4K or something like that and all that. I don't think it's one you necessarily need to go to the cinema to see. I know some people like to do it, cause same as me, I like to go movies, support the studios that make these movies. But sometimes you don't want to go to a cinema to see a mediocre film. It's not mediocre, it's a pretty good film, but I think you can wait for it to come out on video or VOD and that. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment below and tell me what you thought of the movie, and if you'd like to see more reviews like this, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time.